Yeah. So it's kind of a crazy story, but it was back in January of 2021, and actually even a little bit before then. My husband and I had just moved home from church planting over in the UK, and um, we needed to get home. We needed to have a house. Like we needed we needed everything because we had just sold everything and moved transatlantically, and we had two children, and we were literally living with my in-laws. And I remember just praying, being like, God, like, what's the next step? And then the next step was COVID. So we're like living with,
Yay.
yes, isn't it just the timing? So we're like living with my in-laws, no jobs, nothing. We need a house. And my husband's like, look, you're going to need to get a job. You can't be a stay-at-home mom anymore because we need the income. Well, the only job that I could get was a job in childcare. And so I'm literally, and any mom right now, please lean into this because hopefully you can understand the pain. I would go and drop my kids off at one end of the building and go and look after somebody else's.
Mm.
And it wasn't like even a job that, like, if I'm going to be looking after kids, I want to be looking after my own. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, for sure.
And so I'm just like praying and I'm like in this place where I'm like, gosh, like, I really don't know what the next step is. God, I felt like was always really clear with me about like what I should do next. But it was like he was silent. I really felt like I have no idea like what I'm supposed to do. And I was praying about it. And for months, months and months and months, was rejected from job after job. Um, and I was like, gosh, Lord, I just don't even know. And I felt this one day I was listening to a podcast and it was focused on the family, which I love. And I was listening to Jim Daly talk and I was like, gosh, I love this podcast. I love how he just interviews people and he's able to, hear their life story. And I said to God, I was like, God, I would love a job where I could just talk to people all day because if we're being really honest, that's really all I'm actually good at. Like, I don't have
Not
computer
true, but
skills.
I get you.
Yeah. But it was like everything I was looking at on Indeed, was like all
Yeah.
these things. I was like, no, that's not
Yeah.
what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And literally a couple months later, I felt God start speaking to me about posting videos online, like so clearly. And the very first video that I uploaded, which was just a video of my kids sledding, it was literally the first video that was on my phone. It was a video of my kids sledding. I uploaded it to TikTok, which was a video platform. And the next morning, I woke up and that video generated 22 million views, and I landed a spot on the Kelly Clarkson show. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I feel like
Okay,
I'm,
God.
yeah, I feel like this is confirmation. And so then I just started learning content creation. And a year later, I headed into entrepreneurship. And this is my job now, where I talk to people all day.
It's so good. And it's so neat, you guys, because when I met her, she was kind of in this place of like, all I'm really teaching about and talking about is motherhood because that was what that first video did. And it's been such a beautiful journey to witness the evolution of that. And I always speak to people about you don't have to stay stuck in the one thing, especially knowing that we are multifaceted, multi-passionate people. And you should be able, if you're creating a brand around yourself, you should be able to talk about all the things that you love and it still makes sense to your audience. And so I love learning how to parent through Melissa Hughes, but I also love how you bring to life the opportunity to be a creator and to do it through the fun of entrepreneurship because you do it in a lot of different ways. You're also an author, a best-selling author for those that didn't know. So tell them about that story because I think that there's a neat evolution for your own journey on, okay, I started posting videos, I started learning videos, and then this thing happened.
Yes. So I guess there's two parts to that because actually I wrote a book before I was a content creator in 2016 and it was called She Can Laugh. And Tamra, I know that you used to be in the health field and still are, you still practice what you preach and everything, but loved like the holistic health message. And I fell into that and I wrote a book about it, but it wasn't for entrepreneurship or like, it literally was like, I would love to I just like to write. So I'm just going to do this thing. Yeah. And so I had that book that I just did nothing with, but other than like shared it with friends and family. And then when I started creating content, one of the videos that I created went so viral. I had a children's book company reach out to me and say, "Hey, would you like to make this into a kid's book?" And it was wild. He was a Christian as well. And he prayed, God, who's somebody I should like reach out to? And my video came up. And so we ended up connecting. He made a kid's book out of one of my TikToks, and it's been incredible. Like, I don't think people realize when you put yourself out there, you're also opening yourself up to new opportunities that you never would have had you not put yourself out there.
Yeah. And there's an element to that. We kind of geeked out about it when we were at the retreat together about a lot of people talk about it needing to be confidence. Tell them about your kind of lens on needing confidence. And we know that our confidence comes in Christ, but when people think about video, I mean, I see people turtle shell all day long. They're like, wait, I want to be an author. I want to be a best-selling author. And you're asking me to be on video. Why do I have to be on video? I'm like, well, do you want to sell some books is the next question, right? And like, you have an ability to do both. If you're a good writer, in my opinion, you're also capable of speaking because you have words inside of you that need to be shared. One muscle might be stronger than the other, but like, I can get in the gym and I can squat more than my husband, but all day long, he'll be on the pull-up bar longer than me. And all I need to do is practice, right? And so it's a practicing element, but talk about your lens for confidence.
Yes. So I have discovered that before you can be confident, you have to have courage. And courage precedes confidence. And I think when people are now looking online, seeing people show up on video, like even for myself, it's like, oh, it's so easy for her, good for her. And we kind of sit back on this like, oh, I'm glad that works out for you. When in reality, I went through this whole process of being totally uncomfortable, totally outside my comfort zone, totally feeling incompetent to be able to know what I'm doing, and trying and failing and putting myself out there and really having the courage to put out bad content before I was confident enough to start really putting out better content. And so if anyone is wanting to create online, whether it is a book or it is video content or it's a blog, before you can be confident, you have to just start and have the courage to do it.
That's so good. It reminds me of like a parallel element of what I always share about clarity comes in action, right? Yeah. Everyone wants this crystal clear ball of what they're supposed to do, just like Christ was literally like, hey, Melissa, you should post online. And you're like, well, what does that mean? And it wasn't clear until it was clear because you did the thing. And so it's just like Peter coming out of the boat. It's like, get out of the boat. Well, what do you mean? Do I need to bring a towel with me? How far are we going to go? How long? Do I need a snack? How long? What's this going to look like? Do I need a bathing suit? Right? And it's like, no, just take the step because that's the thing that the Lord has called you to do. And then you get courageous and confidence is stemmed from that space.